A draft bill favouring locals over foreigners in township economies is being explored in Gauteng. The stated aim of the draft legislation is to try and boost employment. However, is the Gauteng administration potentially shooting itself in the foot? Nomfundo Dlamini from the South African Cities Network joins us now. Nomfundo, good evening to you. What is the aim of this bill? What is the Gauteng provincial government actually trying to do?
Good evening, Stephen, and good evening to your viewers. So firstly, the bill aims to provide a regulatory framework which makes it possible for people living in townships to establish viable and thriving businesses where they live. It also aims to incentivize the growth of production sectors and their location in township spaces. And these are the sectors that include manufacturing, urban and agriculture, agro-processing, and service firms through effective land use and other incentives. The bill further goes on to promote the development and diversification of the economy in the province through regulation of participation of township-based enterprises in these certain sectors, as mentioned.
It seems to make specific reference to people who are permanent residents and South Africans and says that they can participate in this. People who don't have those documents cannot. Is there research that shows how many foreign nationals who don't have permanent residence are actually involved in these businesses? And I mean, for some reason, it seems to, in the public imagination, at least to be around spas or shops. Is there research which shows how many people who don't have documents are actually involved in these businesses at the moment?
Well, I want to possibly take a step back, Stephen, and firstly state that an interesting fact about the township economy is that 9 out of 10 businesses and township enterprises are operating informally, and only 10% is currently well established and well capitalized. And this is the fundamental premise upon which the bill is trying to aggravate for economic development to transpire. So there's currently funding that is targeted at SMMEs and is therefore not accessible or available to most township enterprises, irregardless of nationality, just by the mere fact of an enterprise being based within a township. This is because financing rules and regulations for formal lending do not recognize informal businesses. And subsequently, these financial institutions do not have the data on how risky or possibly not risky is it to lend to these township establishments. And so to get onto your point, Stephen, I think it's quite an important point to clarify, as there has been a bit of sensationalism and destructive journalism that can misconstrue the concerted efforts to actually foster inclusivity and access for the country's most underdeveloped and underprivileged. So as we all are aware, South Africa's current unemployment rate is measured at 23.3% in the second quarter. And that has resulted in about 4.3 million people being unemployed. And if we utilize the expanded definition of unemployment, this also includes our discouraged work seekers. The unemployment rate rises to 42%, and that places 10.3 million people out of work. So where do the majority of these people reside? Within our and underdeveloped areas, which is our township and rural communities. And thus, it's therefore imperative, especially with the current economic devastation caused by COVID, for our communities to gain access to the economy and to be provided with security and support. That is what the draft bill is proposing by stating that charity begins at home. Our citizens are unemployed. Public protests are the most apparent service delivery and governance demonstrations that are widespread due to public frustration and despair at the economic and governance challenges that are currently facing the country. And therefore, it is quite improper and a bit irresponsible for us to propel panic and discrimination. Some individuals have even gone as far as stating xenophobia when opening up the township market to mega malls and foreign-owned shops without a strategy to integrate and partner with local existing businesses has increased tensions within communities, and that's well documented and well noted. I would say that these are the two factors, Stephen, which have contributed to the tensions and displacement of many township business people. And what the new regulatory framework proposes is to ensure that certain types of business in certain sectors can only be owned and operated by South African citizens. And this is the case in several other countries, such as in Ghana and Nigeria.
Nomfundo Dlamini, thanks very much indeed. Program Manager for Productive Cities at the South African Cities Network. Thank you very much indeed.